Okay, well, this time we're going to do the rocker toe and the punched nail hole. A couple things about that one. This one shows a plain stamp shoe, and this is a keg shoe modification. That would most likely be a handmade shoe. I'm not sure of any manufactured plain stamp shoes. I know Workman is making one they call a rodeo hind, but I think it's up to a size 1 maximum, and this takes about a size 3. So this is the finished shoe. So, well, let me back up just a bit. And due to that fact that it has a rocker toe and it also has a stamped nail hole, ideally the nail hole for as a test would be done in the full section of that shoe, not in the fullering. But since this is keg shoe modifications, and this we're gonna have to do it in the fullering of the shoe. So I'm gonna have to explain. You're gonna want to duplicate the nail hole, the existing nail hole in the shoe. So you don't want your head stamp to get too far up into the fullering, but you also want your this is an E head. This is a MX50. What I'm going to use in this shoe, but you don't want your nail head up too high into the fullering. This will take a city head nail, but you want your nail to also fit. So if your head stamp is too big, it's not going to fit right. It's not going to look right. If it's too small, it won't drop enough. This is, like I said, it's a Delta kegger. You could use, the Workman Warrior or the Mustad Liberos or the DFs, the Kirkhart DFs. Any of those shoes would work. It's good to have kind of on some of these modifications when you're fitting center of stock, to have a round heel check. This is the blank I made that I'm going to use to produce this shoe. So for this demo, I'm just going to do the stamp nail hole because that's the first order of business in making this. You don't want to be stamping nail holes after it's rocker. So we'll stamp a nail hole in this shoe and in the keg shoe, and then I'll come back and stamp nail holes in this plain stamp shoe as well. I wanted to show you the key to all of this is reworking your tools to fit the nail that you're using. Otherwise, they're going to be either looser or tight, sloppy or tight, and the nail head isn't going to fit into the hole as precisely as you would like it, with just the crown showing, no gaps around the head of that nail. It fits tight into the shoe, and it just exits the shoe exactly the shank of the nail, so that it's not a sloppy fit. That's the point of doing the punch nail hole modification, that you learn how to punch it precisely so that it actually fits. Couple ways of tuning your pritchel. Roy Bloom has a little trick of punching a hole in a pop can with a nail to gauge the size of the hole. You can use, if you know the nail you're using, you can use a keg shoe and look at that nail hole. This is punched for a city head nail. And if that nail fits the way you like it, then, and this is pretty close, you could simply insert your pritchel into that hole, and look at it. It should come out just flush. And this is made for an NMX50, but if it's got the correct width and length, I could simply grind it off to flush with the foot surface of that shoe, and it would be a pretty easy way to size that pritchel to the shoe. What I do because when I did the Roy Bloom forging credential, there were so many different nails used. That's why I've got a pritchel for every nail. I got tired of reworking pritchels to fit the nail holes. So what I do is what is that? MX50. Get a cheap caliper like this. Measure the nail. The width 77 thousandths by 1/18. And then I simply measure my pritchel right at the base of that pritchel. And I'm at about 82 thousandths by, this is a city head, that's why it's not working. I got 76 thousandths, 1,000 small by 115, and I'm 3,000 small. So 3 thousandths is about a human hair. And that's what I've got. So when you punch through a little ways, you're going to have a little clearance for the nail. You don't want to punch it exactly. That'll give you the clearance you need for the nail to drop, if your nails don't drop. But that's how I size them, and it comes out so precisely that I don't even question it. I just punch the hole. I don't have to do a trial hole to make sure that my my nail's gonna fit. That's what I do. And I do something similar too with the head stamp. But that's a little different. That's a little bit more I measure it the same. I measure my nail, the width and length, and then at the depth of the nail on the head stamp, I measure the head stamp, width and length. And if the base of the head stamp, the point of the head stamp is sized to the base of the head, then that taper is correct, and it's going to fit. It's going to fit just like that. So it's just for me, it's a little more, it's a precise way of reworking my tools to fit. The other thing that really helps, Joe Hawthorne reminded me of, if you break the corners on your pritchel, just deburr these corners and polish your pritchel, helps a lot with keeping it from sticking in the hole. So with all that being said, I'm gonna punch most of the holes in this shoe, and then I'll have them stamped. I'll come back and do one hole, finish the last hole, and then we'll punch a hole into this shoe. Okay, you don't need a whole lot of heat to punch. You don't want a whole lot of heat. Things are a lot crisper and cleaner if you don't have it too hot. So I want to pitch this is my drift, which is basically a pilot hole. And it kind of saves on your head stamp, so you're not beating up your head stamp, trying to, and it's still a little crisp for pritcheling, even head stamping. So I'm just kind of wasting a little time here. I want it black when I pritchel. Otherwise, you're not gonna get a nice crisp exit hole. It's gonna kind of blow it out. And one thing you want your pritchel pretty sharp on the face of it, so that it actually cuts the hole and doesn't. See, if you got it tuned right, it should pop like that. You shouldn't have to fight it coming out of the hole. A little bit is okay, kind of normal, but you shouldn't have to. And the more times that you stamp it, the crisper that your nail holes will be. I want them to just drop like that, but I want them to be still tight in the hole. So now, in the next video, we'll rocker that toe. And we'll take about half the section, and you can use your nail holes as a guide. If anything, I probably should have punched these holes just a little bit further back. They're lined with the inner edge of the shoe, and they probably could have been just a little bit further back so that they wouldn't interfere. They may stretch a little bit when I rocker that toe. So I'm gonna throw this other cake shoe in, and we'll punch a hole in that and be right back. Okay, here's the cake shoe. When you punch it, you're pitching, and you want to center your head stamp in the fullering. Otherwise, if you punch like this, your nail isn't going to fit in the fullering very nice, and you don't have any pitch to your nail. And you don't want to be laying over here either. You want to be kind of aligned with the way the fullering is cut in the shoe. And punch it pretty much till you bottom out. I'm punching it for a 5 city hit. It doesn't necessarily matter what the shoe is punched for. You need to credential it and punch it a couple of times, because the first time you go through it, there's a pretty good sized burr on the back of that shoe. And you need to take that off. So it's a lot easier to punch in a cake shoe or a fuller shoe, because the fullering kind of hides. See, it's snug, and it fits. It drops into the fullering. You look at it from that, how it drops into that fullering, with the crown of the nail still above the shoe. My punch is obviously tuned a little different than these holes are. These look like they're almost would fit a combo nail, or E-head nail. Actually, that nail fits pretty nice. So you could punch it for I punched it for a 5 city hit. Okay, that's really all there is to the punch nail hole, and then your rocker toe. The next video we'll rocker the toe on that shoe. We'll just where did I put it?
Oh, it's on your other anvil.
Oh.
It's over there.
We'll rocker the toe in this and clean it up. And I'll probably do one on this manufactured shoe too, because this is a keg shoe modification. We don't expect you to make plain stamp shoes. Okay.